Hey guys, Martin here, the December 2017 edition of We're Still Here. I'm making it sound like it's a much bigger deal than it is. It's just me talking to a camera. It's a pretty basic setup, but for those of you who haven't really tuned into We're Still Here before, this is a series where I talk about my experiences with depression. I'm hesitant to say it's me talking about how to deal with depression, because a lot of the time I'm just saying I have depression and this is my experience, and it doesn't necessarily teach you anything about it. It doesn't necessarily give you any helpful hints, but it gives you perspective, and that's what I try to bring to the table. If I can bring nothing else to the table, it's my own perspective on things. I've been doing this series for a few years now, and it's almost sad. I hate to say sad, but it is. That's the feeling I have, that there are times when I can't really tell how much progress I've made. I can't really tell how much I've improved. If I've improved, I can't really definitively say, oh, I'm much better than I was. Thank goodness. Thank goodness this whole thing has been worth it. Thank goodness I've been able to document my recovery. I mean, I am grateful for the opportunity to do that, and I do believe that I have recovered to a significant extent. I mean, I don't consider suicide at all these days. I don't have that thought in my brain most of the time. I don't want to actively die, and that is a huge thing. That is a big step. That is a big deal to me. And I'm not nearly as miserable, and I'm not spending most of the time during these videos crying about things. I'm relatively upbeat about a lot of things in my life compared to how I was feeling originally. But at the same time, it's almost impossible to tell you that I'm better. I can't tell you that things are good, and that's okay. It's okay to feel like things aren't 100%. It's okay to not be 100%. That's one of the things that comes with depression, is when you're not feeling at your best, you feel like you may as well be at your worst. At least that's how I feel a great deal of the time. I feel like I'm letting everybody down if I'm not making everybody happy. I feel like I'm not shouldering the amount of weight that I should be able to. I feel like I'm just not pulling my own weight a lot of the time. On a scale of 1 to 10, that's not 0, but it's not 10. It's not even 9 or 8. I feel like I'm a solid 5 or 6 if I had to put a number to it. But I can't definitively say that. And one of the reasons I feel like I can't do that is because I just sort of feel like I've had to start from scratch in a lot of areas of my life, and a lot of things that I've slowly developed over my lifetime, which is 34, 35 years now. I've had to go back to basics. I've had to relearn. I've had to learn how to crawl before I can learn how to walk, because heaven knows I was not walking for a good long time. Not literally, I was able to walk, but I'm just saying that I wasn't able to keep the pace as a person that I used to be able to, because of depression. Depression definitely sort of pulled the rug out from under me. It cut me off. It cut me off from a lot of things that are positive in my life. It cut me off from a lot of the things that I love, that I'm passionate about. I mean, I'm waxing very poetic right now, but it doused out a flame that I had within me. Anything that I looked forward to, or anything that I was always happy about, that I could always rely on to make me happy, it just wasn't there anymore. It was like walking into a room that I just left, that I'd left in great condition, and walking back in there and seeing it completely decimated. Or sometimes the room was just empty. There was just nothing there for me. Depression does that. It takes a lot of the trappings of your life. It takes everything that you've sort of built. It's almost like a big Jenga tower that you're struggling to balance with your entire life, and depression just sort of takes that and pulls one of the most crucial pieces out, and everything falls apart. I've, as a result of depression, struggled to enjoy creative exercises that I used to be so excited about. I used to be really excited about making a lot of the videos that I make, and depression sometimes made me resent the fact that I even had to do it. And that's not good when the thing that drives you and the thing that you really want to do with your life is taken. When it's taken away, when it's corrupted to an extent, it may as well have, taken away your reason for being. Depression has the ability to do that. Depression is able to subvert all of your expectations for how you're going to feel and how you're going to behave, and it flips them on its head and basically makes you not know yourself. I've had to relearn a lot of the things that I used to have as second nature. It's forced me to approach the way I approach things in my life, and made me have to realize that, I kind of have to handle some of these things that I come across in life every day with kid gloves now, because if something goes wrong or if I feel like I'm doing things wrong, I immediately give up. Talking to people, going outside, going to parties, going to social events, working, it makes that stuff seem like an impossible climb, like some sort of towering obstacle that I could never handle, even though I'd gotten to the point before when it wasn't even a challenge sometimes. I've always struggled with talking to people, but there are times when I can't be in the same room as people. And it's not that bad these days, but there have been times when depression has made me just break down in the middle of a gathering of people, and I've had to leave and go be by myself for a while. I've had to relearn how to be a human being. I've had to reapproach everything that has been a basic building block of who I am, and it's rearranged them and made them confused and twisted and ugly. It reshaped me. It reshaped everything that made me, and I didn't recognize myself. I didn't feel like myself. I had to relearn how to be myself. It's like, if you've ever played video games, it's like in one of those Metroid games where you'd have all your abilities at the beginning of the game. You'd have all your weapons and all your special moves, and then you get to a certain point in the game and they take them away and you have to regather them. You have to do a lot of backtracking and find a lot of the things that you had available at the beginning because they wanted you to feel empowered, but then the game's like, okay, now you have to gather them again and relearn them and improve them. And that's the key part of it, is that once you've regathered everything about yourself, once you've relearned everything, once you've had to take the time to approach yourself from a different direction, a different perspective, hopefully, I'm not going to say it's definitely going to happen, but in the process, I have found that I've improved. I've been able to cope with them better as a result of having to do it over again, of having to start from scratch, of having to redo the tutorial of being a human being. And that's something positive to take from it. That's something I actually do appreciate from this whole messed up experience, is that I do feel like in certain ways I am a better person than I was at certain things. I'm better at scheduling. I'm better at working professionally. I'm better in some ways at socializing. I wasn't very into meeting new people before, even before depression. I just wanted to stay with the same people, but now I'm much more into that. I'm not more into it. I'm just much more able to handle it, if that makes sense. New people were always kind of scary to me before, and now I just kind of go into it with no expectations. And that makes it less of an intimidation. Obviously, having to start from the beginning, to start from square one, it's made harder when there are other people in your life who have to almost start there with you. And I've been very aware of that. I've been very aware, obviously, of the effect that this has had on not just my wife or, everybody in the close proximity to me, but extended family, friends, people who just basically lost touch with me, and still a lot of them I haven't been able to reach out to, and I've struggled, and because sometimes when I think about it, reacquainting myself with people that left my life as a result of the depression invading it makes me worry, because it's easier to meet new people or to spend time with the people who know what's going on with me than it is to reintroduce myself to somebody who doesn't understand what I've gone through, or isn't aware of it, or just doesn't want to be part of that. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them for not wanting to be a part of the part of my life where I'm miserable and, destructive and emotional. Like, why would you want to take any of that on? So I don't want to make that an issue, but at the same time, I don't know how to reintroduce myself to people without explaining why I'm having to do that, I'm having to redo a lot of things in my life, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I guess the reason I'm talking about it is because I'm sort of figuring out that when my depression was at its worst, I was like, this is the end. I can't recover from this. I can't, and even if I did, it wouldn't be worth fighting for, because everything's ruined now. But ruins can be rebuilt. They can be built around, at the very least. They can be reinforced. And to just leave something as a ruin, unless it's just, a part of history, like an actual landmark, to leave something as a ruin is a waste. And it's something that it'll make you sad to reflect upon it. But once you've finished rebuilding yourself, and you might look a bit different, you might look a bit worse for wear, you might not even look the way they want you to, but they won't reject you. They won't look at you and think, well, I preferred the old you. They'll, if they really care about you, the part of you that is you and isn't the depression, they won't reject you just because you seem different. They won't reject you just because something happened to you. And that's something that I keep forgetting, is that depression is something that has happened to me. It's not something that I've done. I mix that up a lot. I forget, and I blame myself. I'm always apologizing for it. And I shouldn't. It's not my fault. This happened to me. And it didn't just affect me, but it wasn't because I was doing anything. It was because something was being done to me. And I look forward to the day when I'm able to look at it in the rearview mirror and be like, that was something that happened, but I recovered, and I learned, and I improved, and I'm better. I can say that I'm better now, which is an amazing thing, but I want to be able to look back at it in hindsight and be like, I'm better for having fought against that and recovered and realized who I really am, and realized myself, and re-realized a lot of things that I've forgotten about myself, that I don't acknowledge, that I'm worth being here, that I'm worth having a life that I have with Mariana, I'm worth having the love that I have in my life, and I'm worth defeating my depression. And that's going to happen. I'm going to be me again, completely. And I don't know what shape that will take, but it'll be me. And that's something worth fighting for. Me. You. We're both worth fighting for. As frightening and as confusing and as weird and as impossible as it might seem sometimes, it is worth relearning how to be yourself. It's worth relearning how to be you through all of this, through all of depression, every part of it. You're going to be learning. You're going to be learning how to deal with depression. You're going to be learning how to be yourself again. But the time that you put into that is worth it, because you are worth it. And depression will tell you otherwise. But it's flat out wrong. It really is. Well, I'm going to leave that there, but I just wanted to say I hope you guys are having a good December. 2017, I don't know about you, but for me, it's gone by really quickly. I was just talking to Mariana the other day and being like, how is it December? I feel like it's July. It feels like it's just flown by. I don't know how, but I hope, however fast this year seemed to go for you, I hope that it's been okay. I hope that it's been bearable. I hope that it's been something you haven't had to struggle too much through. And if it's been a bad year for you, I want you to know that there are bad years, but I promise you they're not all going to be bad years. There are going to be good years on the horizon. It's something we just have to see through together. And I promise you that I am going to see many more years. I don't know if you can hear the cat outside. I'm going to see many more years through with you. I want you to be in this time with me. And I want to be here 10 years from now and look back and think, remember when I made these videos and I couldn't even make a single formulaic thought without bursting into tears? How did I even do that? How was I even in that position? And one day we'll look back on this and think how strange it was when depression happened. Anyway, I'm gonna take off now. I'm kind of getting rambly, but I just wanted to say thanks for checking in with me. I appreciate it, and I hope that you guys are gonna have a good festive season, however you're celebrating it, if you're celebrating. And I'll see you next year, I guess. Have a good December.